and welcome to my channel Nimisha Audiobooks. 3. Karma Yoga, the Yoga of Action. Arjun said, O Janardhan, O Kesava, if it is your opinion that wisdom is better than action, then why do you wish to engage me in such violent activities? Your words seem to be contradictory and my mind is now confused. Therefore, kindly tell me which particular path is most beneficial for me. Bhagwan Sri Krishna said, O faultless one, previously I explained the two paths found in this world, the path of wisdom for the empirical philosophers and the path of action for those that must perform action. A man cannot attain the state of divine consciousness free from material action simply by abstaining from action. Neither can perfection be attained simply by renunciation. One cannot abstain from activities even for a moment. Indeed, all living beings are forced to engage in activities due to the influence of the modes of material nature. One who controls the external senses yet mentally dwells upon the sense objects is said to be foolish and hypocritical. However, that person who controls the senses with the mind and engages them in the Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action without attachment, is superior, O Arjun. You should perform your prescribed duties, since action is better than inaction. You cannot maintain your existence without action. All activities are meant for sacrifice to Vishnu. Other than that, all other activities bind one to this material world. O son of Kunti, work for him alone and be free from any attachment. In the beginning of creation, Brahma created mankind along with the system of sacrifice and said, through this sacrifice, may you prosper, may it fulfill all your desires. The demigods, being satisfied with sacrifices, will also satisfy you. By mutually pleasing each other, you will attain the highest benefit. Being satisfied by your performance of sacrifices, the demigods will bestow onto you all the necessities of life. But one who enjoys these gifts without offering them to the demigod is a thief. Enlightened individuals are liberated from all types of impiety by accepting the remnants of foodstuffs offered in sacrifice. However, those who only cook for themselves perpetuate their own bondage. All living beings subsist on food, and food is produced by rain. Rain is produced due to the performance of sacrifice, and sacrifice is born of prescribed activities. One should know that prescribed activities originate from the Vedas, and the Vedas originate from imperishable absolute truth. Thus, the omnipresent absolute truth is eternally present within acts of sacrifice. O Parth, one who lives in this world but does not accept the Vedic system lives an impious life in pursuit of sense pleasures. Thus, he lives his life in vain. However, for one who finds pleasure in the self, there is no duty to fulfill. He rejoices in the self and internally is completely self-satisfied. In this world, he neither gains by action nor gains by inaction. Neither does he depend on any other person. Therefore, continue to perform your prescribed duties perfectly without attachment to the results. By acting without attachment, one attains the absolute. In the past, kings such as Janak and others attained perfection by performing their prescribed duties. In order to set a proper example to the people in general, you should also act appropriately. However, a great man conducts himself, common men will follow. Accordingly, wherever standards he sets by his actions, others will follow in his footsteps. O Arjun, son of Parth, I have no duty to perform whatsoever in the three worlds. I lack nothing, nor do I need to gain anything. Yet, I still engage in activities. If I avoid activity, then all men will follow my path and neglect their prescribed duties. O Partha, if I do not act properly, then the general populace will be ruined and I will be the cause of unwanted progeny. In this way, I will cause the destruction of all beings. O descendant of Bharat, just as the ignorant are attached to their activities, similarly the wise must also work, but without attachment, for the welfare of all. The wise should not disturb the minds of the ignorant who are attached to their selfish activities. Rather, remaining unattached and fully executing their duties, they should encourage the ignorant and engage them in pious activities. All activities are performed by the modes of nature, but those who are deluded by the false identification of the body think, I am the doer. Yet, O mighty armed one who is a knower of the truth concerning action and the modes of material nature, understands that it is the modes interacting with one another and thus he remains unattached. Those bewildered by the modes of material nature are engrossed in material activities conducted by those modes. The wise should not disturb the ignorant who are bereft of proper knowledge. Completely surrendering all your activities unto me, with your consciousness fully situated in the self, without any selfish motivation, without any sense of ownership, and without grief, fight. Those that faithfully follow the instruction of mine without envy will become free from the bondage of actions. However, you should know that those persons who, out of envy, do not follow my instructions are deprived of all knowledge. They have lost sight of the goal of life and are bereft of intelligence. Even a wise man acts according to his nature. All living beings act according to their natures, for what can repression achieve? The senses are attracted to and repelled by the objects of the senses. But one must not become controlled by such attractions or aversions, for they are obstacles. It is better to perform one's own prescribed duties imperfectly rather than perform another's duties perfectly. It is better to die while performing one's own duties, for executing the duties of another is fraught with uncertainty. Arjun asked, O Krishna, what is it that makes a man perform impious activities even against his will, as if by force? Bhagwan Sri Krishna said, it is lust, which transforms into anger that is manifest from the mode of passion. Know this lust to be totally insatiable and extremely evil. It is the great enemy of this world. As a fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, and as the womb covers an embryo, similarly, lust covers the consciousness of the living being. O Kunti, the discrimination of even a wise man can become covered by his eternal nemesis in the form of lust that is like an all-devouring fire. It is said that the senses, mind and intelligence are the sitting places of this enemy. Covering one's knowledge, it bewilders the embodied living being. Therefore, O noblest amongst the Bharats, you must first bring the senses under control and eliminate lust, which is the embodiment of all the impiety and the destroyer of knowledge and realization. It is said by the wise that the senses are superior to the sense objects, the mind is superior to the senses, and the intelligence is superior to the mind. Superior to the intelligence is the individual unit of consciousness. O mighty armed Arjun, knowing the individual unit of consciousness to be the superior to the intelligence, steady the mind with the pure intellect of the self and conquer this indomitable enemy in the form of lust. Om Tat Sat. Thus ends chapter 3 entitled Karma Yoga from the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjun in the Upanishad known as Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Shastra of divine knowledge, from the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, the literature revealed by Vyasa in 100,000 verses. Thank you for listening.